Hello, world. Hello to all our fellow travellers. I'm Helen Taylor, and welcome to the inspired radio series, You Are Supernatural. I'm here with you every Monday for conversations and stories, not only for entertainment and to entertain you, but to wake something up. We talk cycles, programs, energy, healing, out of body ghosts, dimensions, telepathy, patterns, conversations to just bend our reality a little at the edges. So let's get started. This week, my guest is Dr. Val Rytova. Val is a behavioural neuroscientist. She's on a mission to make brain science meaningful in everyday life. After years of research and teaching, Val stepped out of the lab, so to speak, in 2021 and created the Love of Brain platform dedicated to translating neuroscience into tools that help people improve their well-being and better understand themselves and their minds. She offers answers to fear, anxiety, social behavior, and neurodegenerative, oh gosh, that's a word to get your tongue around, isn't it? Neurodegenerative conditions such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Wow. Welcome, Val.
Hi, thanks for having me and thanks for the intro. I think nothing got missed except that I'm also a mom and I love kite surfing.
Rightio, rightio. She's also a mum and she loves kite surfing. There you go.
Thank you. Hello, hello. So pleased to be here. Thanks for having me and hello to the listeners.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. Firstly, this show is about stories too. Your story and who you are has brought you to where you are right now. So, where did it start? Like this interest in the brain?
Well, it started when I was at the start of my PhD around, when was that? 2013? Yeah,
Hmm.
2013. I started a PhD in brain cancer, and all my prior career to that had been science, like anatomy or immunology research, physiologically based stuff, like physiology, science, but
Yep.
not really brain related. However, I just got this interest, I want to do brain stuff. And so I started in a brain cancer lab, right? Because I had the connection with the oncology there. And then I realized I don't want to do brain cancer. I want to do brain.
Uh-huh.
So pretty quickly. And I wasn't getting along with my supervisor. There were all these synchronicities that were like, no, now is the time for you to go for what you really want to go for.
Okay.
Um, so I quit that initial PhD that I was about a couple months into, and because I had a scholarship from Melbourne University, I originally came over from Canada, but I got funded, right? So I said, listen, I'm not going to just waste it. I'm going to find a lab that I really, really like and people that I really, really like, and that's where I'll do my PhD. And so I did that. I did that, and I wound up having an extraordinary PhD with amazing people, amazing supervisors. I had a baby mid-PhD. I mean, you name it, it happened.
You were
So that's
doing it Val's way by the sounds of it.
yeah, it was my flavor for sure. So that's when it all started, the brain fascination, and I really dove deep into it at that time and from then on.
Well, even to kind of change PhD mid-course is an unusual thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see many people doing that. Listen, I was at the start. However, again, it really did take something. It really did take something.
Hmm.
And what it took was just getting authentic with myself and saying, listen, I'm not going to be doing this. I can't see doing this for 4 years or 5 years.
Gotcha,
It's
gotcha.
just,
I mean,
I'm
and the
not doing
reason
that.
why I'm pointing it out is, yeah, it isn't common. So it takes somebody with a bit of courage and to be pretty brave to midstream go, I've got breadcrumbs. You called them synchronicities. I usually call them breadcrumbs that were telling you, no, come this way. And you were courageous enough to let go of one thing and take up the mantle of another thing.
Yeah, yeah. And that was traces, I think, of my North Node. If you want to get into astrology, I've got my North Node in Aries. Of course, my South Node is in Libra. So I love people pleasing, right? I'm very comfortable with it. And it's also in the second house. So I love security, all that, right? And that's what I come into this life with. But
Right.
where I'm moving towards is my North Node's in Aries in the eighth house. So let's transform and I'll lead you there.
And what I hear too is so you've got the science component to yourself, but also an esoteric component to yourself, right?
Yeah, they're intertwined for me.
Ooh, and that's not common. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Because people either take up the spiritual mantle or the science mantle. I love that you're combining the two of them. So, where did you bring in your understanding of astrology? Where did that come from?
I just got really, really interested. I have so many interests. There's my passion and my main squeeze, which is neuroscience and behavior and things like neuroplasticity and epigenetics. And we could talk a little bit more about what that
Oh, yes,
is.
we will.
And but I've got all these other passions, like kite surfing, but like astrology and numerology. I know you had obviously a numerologist on your show,
Yes,
maybe
yes, that was
recently.
Asta. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm really into that as well, and I'm spiritually inclined, spiritually oriented. For me, that was just always there as an area to explore, and I think the older I get, the more into it I get.
Yeah,
Again, just following my North Node here.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. So, yes, let's get into, because it's favorite topics of mine as well, let's get into neuroscience. Like, tell us what that's about, but also how it can help the average man and woman out there to understand.
Absolutely. Neuroscience, of course, is the study of the nervous system, which isn't just the brain, and it's not just the peripheral nervous system. It's not just the autonomic nervous system. As we go along, I'll debunk a lot of mainstream myths, like
You?
even people saying let's regulate the nervous system, but it's like, well, what nervous system are you talking about? There's so
Okay.
many.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, listen, neuroscience is a vast, vast field, and you can study just the brain or just a tiny part of the brain. It could be behavioral. So for me, it was really the underlying mechanisms, like the neural circuits and the neural chemistry involved in certain behaviors, such as fear-related behaviors, anxiety-related behaviors,
Yep.
and social behaviors. So I studied a couple of structures very closely throughout my PhD. The hippocampus, which is the memory storage of our brain, as well as the amygdala, which some people are familiar with, right? Which is the emotional processing center of our brain. So those
Hmm.
are were my little PhD buddies, and I really delved into them. So yeah, I'm a behavioral neuroscientist. I studied and am fascinated and am an expert in the underlying mechanisms of fear-related behaviors.
Fabulous, because I think everybody who's listening, and especially everybody that's lived through the last 6 years in any country in the world, has some element of fear and anxiety that they're dealing with or trying to manage. So, how can neuroscience help them understand and manage their fear and anxiety a little better?
Well, first thing is awareness. When we bring awareness, we raise our frequency. I kind of like to talk both neuroscientifically and spiritually at the same time. So
I love it. I love it.
hopefully people can just get with it, right?
Yep.
Um, but as we become aware of how our brain functions and what it does, I think it gives us power ultimately. It's not like this mysterious thing that we know nothing. I mean, a lot of it still is mysterious, right? We don't know everything about the brain,
Yes.
but at least I educate people on the basics of, well, what's happening when I am experiencing this threat or I feel um, afraid or maybe scared and anxious and want to dig a hole in the ground and disappear for a while kind of thing,
Yep.
right? And on a neural level, it's very basic. Ultimately, we have a very deep-rooted structure within our brain called the limbic system,
Mhm.
which is comprised of a bunch of brain areas like the hippocampus, the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, the hypothalamus, and a couple others, right? But it's a circuit, and they're all talking to each other. And this system is evolutionarily conserved over time. So when you think about it, right, it's present in most animals, all human beings, like even simpler structures that inhabit this realm. So it's like, well, okay, it's important because it's there. And it is there for survival. The primary
Absolutely.
role of the limbic system is survival, is to support us in literally surviving.
Yes. Fight and flight. Run or put up your fists and fight. Either one.
Yeah, part of it, that's it. That's it. Part of it is the fight or flight mechanisms, that's for sure. Of course, it is a little bit more complicated than that, or maybe a lot more complicated, but it is the fight or flight is definitely part of it, okay?
Yeah.
So it does activate the limbic system. Now, what people don't know is that the limbic system is also responsible for emotions like love and maternal behaviors and social behaviors. So it gets a really bad rep. I find people, oh, the amygdala is hijacked. You're overly active. You're aggressive. Da 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 da. Use your prefrontal cortex to regulate. Do breath work to regulate. But it's like, okay, but yes, yes, and what about love?
And
You
those
know?
emotions, though, too, love and relationships are quite primal as well, aren't they?
Absolute.
Yeah.
Again, survival. Yeah, we need to propagate. So they are primal instincts, and they are embedded and part of uh, being governed by the limbic system. But so let me just troll back a little bit. The limbic system is there for survival and for the propagation of our species and experiences such as love.
Yeah.
However, in this day and age, and especially in the last 6 years, and especially in the last century, I would say, it's been overly active by design. So we're born into the condition of being human. And the condition of being human that we're born into is designed to overly activate our primal instincts and our amygdala and ultimately our limbic system. So our limbic system's really running the show,
Hmm.
which isn't the way that it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
and it is by design.
Well, this is the part that a lot of people talk about that gets turned on and it never gets turned off or it never gets dialed down. Yeah.
Not that, yes, yes, and not that you need to dial it down. You just need to regulate it by using your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain, which is like the CEO. It has the higher cognitive functions like emotional regulation, decision making, problem solving, your sense of self, your sense of identity. And the prefrontal cortex, which is literally located at the front of your brain, is
Yes.
intricately connected to the amygdala, to the limbic system, as to allow for it to regulate, to regulate it so you're not freaking out at everything. A person coming at you is not a lion.
So
But
when you say that, are you talking about using that part of the brain then to, how do you use it to regulate what's going on with the limbic? Is that talking to yourself, talking through a situation? What does it mean in real time?
yeah, there's so many ways to activate the connection between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. And there are strategies that you can pick. I mean, pick your flavor. If you like meditating, great. If you like yoga nidra, even better. Yoga nidra is one of those really super powerful techniques to fortify the connections between your prefrontal cortex and uh, the
Yes.
limbic system,
Yes. So
like the
that's
amygdala. There's tons of research that's been done on it. It seems like mindfulness, meditation, and those kinds of techniques are the most powerful, or at least maybe they've been just researched to a greater degree.
Well, you're
They're very
talking
good.
about creating a connection, right? But what about when
Yeah,
you're right in the midst of it, right? Like if I have somebody in front of me who's just gone into road rage, who's gone, and you can't tell them to meditate in the midst of that because it's not going to work. How
of
can
course.
you catch yourself when you're about to really fly off the handle?
Of course. And that's where the techniques that are referred to as nervous system regulation do come in handy, because when you're mid-crisis, you need an immediate thing to
Yeah.
get yourself out of the crisis. And then yeah, you do the box breathing, breathe 4 breaths in, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts. That regulates your cortisol levels pretty quick. I mean, it's used by the military, by athletes, and by myself when required. However, I do want to point out to that's not what we need to resort to. We really need to resort to living a life where our prefrontal cortex is very well connected to our limbic system by practicing things such
Yeah.
as getting out in nature, meditation, mindfulness, journaling. Again, pick your flavor. Pick your
Mm.
flavor. I know I'm not a big meditator. Not in the sense of like sitting with my eyes closed and meditating. No, but I get out in nature a lot.
Find
A
what works for
lot.
you. Yeah.
Exactly. So in that sense, you can get really playful because it's not like, oh, you should meditate. Otherwise, you're going to lead a really bad life.
Yes.
No, no.
Yes.
It's you can get creative.
Because if it doesn't suit you, that's just going to create more stress, right?
Right? Totally, totally, totally. So there's many different ways, vast ways. Just find something that works for you. And there's tons of research out there. I mean, that's it. But in the instances that you just described, like if you're in the middle of road rage and you're about to crash into another car, yes, yes. Again, have your go-tos. I like the box breathing and I also like humming because it does activate the vagal nerve, which is
Yes.
part of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest, and it's a real time thing. So I do seven ah, seven ooh, and seven in a row.
There's a
And
science behind humming as well. There's a fella called Dr. John Marks. He's here in Melbourne, and he talks about how it actually regulates through the vagus nerve, through those
oh,
systems. Yes.
oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, we can touch on that briefly, but the science of it it's pretty straightforward, right? So you've got the autonomic nervous system, which is part of your peripheral nervous system. It's
Mm.
autonomic because it's not under your voluntary control.
Well, it's the
So
part of the nervous system that makes your heart beat, and it's all
correct.
things that you're not sitting there going, okay, beat, beat.
That's it. Or like your breath rate, right? It's not like you're like, okay, now I'm going to breathe. Not consciously anyway. It's not, right? So then through techniques like humming and breath work,
Hmm.
you're activating the parasympathetic subdivision of the autonomic nervous system. So
Hmm.
you're literally slowing down your heart rate and your breath rate
Yep.
consciously in that sense,
Immediately,
even though it's not
immediately.
under your voluntary control.
I
And
love
this
it.
is what and this is what nervous system regulation is. I mean, not the entire spectrum, but an example of. So again, right, it's a very tiny example of just the parasympathetic nervous system activation
Yes.
through, let's say, humming by activating the vagus nerve, which is a major component of the parasympathetic nervous system.
And how easy is that? How simple is that? I just want all the listeners I want you to practice just doing some humming. If you're about to pick up a phone and blast somebody, or if you're about to do something that you know you possibly will, I don't know, cause a bit of trouble, hum first.
Right, exactly. And then you can dive a little deeper and find out like where's your Mercury at in your astrology chart. Like my Mercury's in Gemini, so I will once I've done the practice of activating the parasympathetic nervous system, such as to regulate myself and not chop someone's head off, theoretically speaking, I will get into communication, maybe with other people first, to then try to work out in language, in communication. Mercury is all about communication, right? Whatever needs to get worked out.
Yeah.
So again, it depends on that as well.
Well, everything that you're saying is the whole homage of know thyself. So firstly, you're saying to people, know how your brain works, know a little bit more about what it is, and then know about your central nervous system and start to understand that you have some sort of control.
Absolutely, and peripheral nervous system and the enteric nervous system. And this is why I do what I do, right? Because I've stepped out of the lab to literally bring neuroscience out of the lab to the people because of know thyself and your own
Mm.
sovereignty. You don't need to go somewhere to find out something from someone else about you, okay? You can learn about yourself from people
Yes.
like me.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you've got choice as to what you want to do and how you want to regulate.
Mm. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. So let's jump into epigenetics because it's another topic that I absolutely enjoy. Dr. Bruce Lipton, I've already put out a message. I've connected with his people because I would love to interview him. So the message, the connection's out there, and I'm sure you know who he is as well.
I do. I do. That's great. And, I hope that he accepts that
Me
connection
too.
and comes
Me
and talks
too.
about it.
Mm.
But in the meantime, I can talk about it too.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Um, so epigenetics, right? Epigenetics is the way that our environment impacts the expression of our DNA. And DNA being our genetic code and being present in every cell of our body. So with the DNA, you get one strand from your dad, one strand from your mom, and it contains all the genetic material that you'll ever need throughout your life. So
Mm.
it ultimately creates you, right?
Mm.
And that genetic code is unique to you. And only 99 and only 1%, 1 to 2% of it is actually expressed into the 3D.
Yeah.
98 to 99% is what some scientists refer to as junk DNA or introns or non-coding region or silence. Anyway, basically it gets a bad rep, but
Yes.
within that 98 to 99% is where the gold lies, in my view,
Mm.
because there's a lot of regulatory sequences that can activate the part of our DNA that does code for proteins and does turn into behaviors and actions and all of that kind of juice.
Yeah.
And through environment, you can impact both the
And it,
coding and non-coding regions.
sorry to interrupt just
No,
there.
no, it's fine.
Um, it also, for me, it blasted out of the water the whole concept of hereditary. Being told that I inherited my predispositions to the way I lived, my lifestyle, the way I thought, the way my health was, the diseases I was going to get, really, really, I just didn't align with it. And that's where I found epigenetics because I realized that if monkey sees and monkey does, like if I lived the way my parents did, I thought the way that they did, yes. Yes, I was in an environment that was going to create similar diseases to them, but that I had a choice to be able to change it. Epigenetics says that I can change that.
That's it. That's the good part of epigenetics. It is reversible.
Mm.
So, unlike genetics, which is your genetic code, which is hey,
Mm.
it's there. You can't really change it. But you can turn genes off and on through
Correct.
your environment, which is
Correct.
ultimately what epigenetics is, which is what you just referred to.
Yes.
Hence why children of Holocaust survivors are the ones that need a lot of therapy even though they weren't the ones subject to that. And then they get the therapy and then they alter their environment,
Because
So
they learned behavior from mum and dad, right?
yes, how it, not exactly, no.
Okay.
So that's park that. That's true. They learn behaviors from mom and dad, but their mom and dad have an epigenome. So they have a genome that's been modified through the stressful, traumatic experience that they went through.
Yep.
And that information is passed down four generations down the track to scientific proven in the lab.
Yeah.
So if you're proven in the lab, your DNA will have traces of methylation, which is something that is like a molecule that jumps onto a gene and turns it off or on, depending
Right.
on the gene.
Yep.
But basically, and then you're born with that epigenetic tag that you inherited from a parent that underwent severe trauma and or stress, like the Holocaust, for
So,
example.
sorry, for a layman's point of view, mum and dad had genes turned on because of the experience they went through, and that coding got passed through to the child.
That's right. That information, we call it, that's right, that epigenetic information, although not directly embedded in the genome, it's still passed down, but it is reversible.
Got
That's
it.
the
Yes.
beautiful part. That's the part that you mentioned, even though you can get, I mean, listen, I worked next to an addictions lab where they proved that if a person does meth, 4 generations down the line, that child or whatever that person will be impacted by their great 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 grandma doing meth, like through
Mm.
their epigenome. So I
Mm.
believe it goes all the way down and all the way up to from the
Wow.
first ancestor to the last ancestor.
I
But
hadn't
in the
even thought
lab,
about it in terms of drugs. Yes.
yeah, in the lab, it's proven in the lab, if you're really scientifically oriented.
Yep.
Yeah, like you can do the research, look it up. Yeah,
It's
proven in the lab for,
evidence-based.
that's
Absolutely.
right, 4 generations. So yeah, and it's reversible. So you can surround yourself with your social, physical, spiritual environment that alters the expression of your DNA. Like for example, I was born in Russia, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's a known fact that Russians like to drink. And in fact, I had multiple members of my family pass away from alcoholism or alcohol-related disorders.
Okay.
So I used to like to drink a lot, especially in my 20s. And I hung out with a lot of Russian kids or young people that drank a lot too. And
Mhm.
then at some point, I was like, well, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I altered my environment. I barely drink these days. I can't call myself a drinker, but
Yep.
I altered my environment. I started hanging out with people that are not into that. So, you know, there
So
you go.
you were then ultimately turning off certain genes or turning on other genes.
Correct,
Yep.
correct. That
Mm.
now leads to this behavior, which I deal with my emotions in different ways. I
Yes.
choose to.
Yes. That's how we do it, don't we? We make different choices.
Yes, so you can make a new choice about your environment every day. And listen, I gave a personal example and also like a lab-based example, but this goes to everything from
Mm.
thought processes to limiting beliefs, like poverty mindsets.
Yep.
We're born into a condition where there's this big, again, all designed. I'm not going to go into the politics of it. I tend to stay out of politics. It's really not my interest, like really.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a neuroscientist who's woo. That's me. So we can talk about all that. But listen, we're born into this condition, right? Where there's a lot of this poverty mindset for whatever reason.
Mm.
Uh, and then we really have to alter that if we want to, well, if we want to get out of that. So I'm actively at work for myself on that, like being born in Russia,
Yes.
there's massive extremes of poverties and like, multi-billionaires there. So it's like just things like that's an example of a belief
You've
that
got
you
to
can.
catch yourself first, don't you? You have to catch that behavior, catch that thinking first.
And well, at least be interested in like, hey, something's happening here. Like, what's going on in my life? What do I want to alter?
Mhm.
Yeah, like what's this behavior? What's this penny pinching behavior
Yes.
that that's been going on forever as a result of my upbringing or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And then once you make the conscious choice of like, well, I don't want to live like this. I want to live in an abundant mindset, where I contribute to others and open up orphanages or whatever you want to do with the abundance that
Be a
with the abundant
philanthropist
mindset.
or whatever. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So and then you start to alter that. And that's where you get into neuroplasticity. So epigenetics, our environment, and neuroplasticity, the capacity of our brain to rewire itself, also go hand in hand. So when you're trying to rewire a behavior or a belief, you're ultimately creating a new neural pathway in your brain. So let's say I've got this neural pathway, which is like, there's not enough money out there.
Yep.
There's just not.
Yep.
So, which isn't the truth. It's a belief. And that is like any other behavior, any addictive behavior, pick a behavior. So if you're listening to this, pick a behavior that you don't necessarily like about yourself. It literally, there's an underlying neural loop. I like to call it a circuit, like an electrical circuit, just to
Yep.
simplify it for people.
Yep.
So when that loop is running and you've used it throughout your life, it becomes the go-to loop for your brain.
It's the default program.
It
Yeah.
literally is the default programming. And the way that it is rendered that way is from a very young age, you start using that loop, and then the brain being the brain's a lazy thing, right? use the pathway of least resistance
Yep.
because it doesn't want to grow new neural. I mean, the brain requires a lot of energy to function. It does not want to use more energy to grow new neural pathways to create new amazing behaviors.
You
It
are
just wants to.
so right. You are so right. I remember doing some personal development and it went for a week. It was a week-long course, right? And we were learning new behavior, and learning, new how to create a new life for ourselves. And everyone got headaches. Everyone had headaches and you had to drink a lot of water. You were rewiring your brain and it hurt.
It literally, yes, yes. I like the visceral example of that. And I've definitely had similar experiences with personal development courses where, yeah, you got to rewire your brain, but also alter your environment. Because if you don't, you literally revert back to the old neural pathways because
Yes,
your brain's so lazy. It just
yes,
doesn't want to create new ones.
you're absolutely right. And I think that's probably why vision boards and things like that work for people when they start putting images of what they want.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many, again, in this day and age and the way that we're expanding our sovereignty and learning about ourselves. There's so many different ways in which you can empower yourself and forming these new behaviors. But neuroscientifically speaking, if you want to alter a behavior, let's say you want to stop drinking or you want to expand your poverty mindset into something, more appealing,
Yes.
uh, and easier to live with and more fun to live with, you start practicing the new behavior and then you do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you surround yourself with an environment that supports the new neural pathway. So
So
you start talking,
even if you rearranged your lounge room, even if you moved all the furniture around and you put things in different places, that would help
correct.
as well.
Correct. Or let's say you start practicing self-love, right? Because abundance comes from within. So I started going to this day spa like once a week. It's my little treat. And no matter what, I go. Again, I'm Russian, so we like our banya, our spa. It's
Uh-huh.
great. It's great. I mean, it's great on so many levels, right? Just to detox from all the chemtrails and all. Anyway, all,
Yes, there she goes
all
again. We just touch on that.
we'll just touch on that for a second, but it's my thing.
Yes.
And it really fills my heart with joy. And I've started practicing it about maybe a year and a half to 2 years ago. And the benefits are just remarkable. Like just the way in which I relate to myself. Every time I used to go to the spa, I'd get like I'm single, so I'd get like a message from a potential suitor. I'm like, my goodness, like riddle me that. When I pour into myself, other people, like I become attractive to others as well. Like it's so
Mhm.
cool.
Yes, I love your
Yeah.
interpretation of that too. It changes your energy, right? So everybody starts to recognize your energy in a different way. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it is all energetic. Like we go from energy and our all those energetic fields down to the 3D. So I'm very conscious of that too. Hence, like, some of us we can perceive auras or whatever, and then those energy layers become this thing, uh,
Yeah.
this physical.
This thing is the end result, right?
Exactly.
We are
Exactly.
energy and the material world is the end result of it.
Correct. However, being a neuroscientist, it puts me kind of in this like particular place because energy is subordinate to the mind,
Hmm.
right? So we live which is one way of looking at it. I'm not saying it's the only way.
Well,
Uh,
the next thought that I had though was that the mind itself is still a theory. It's still a
you, well,
theory.
you- yeah, it's not, I mean, try to localize it. There's so much drama in research over trying to localize it's not local, man. I could tell you that.
So what were you
It's
trying to say? Where were you going with that?
Oh, well, a lot of not a lot, but some neuroscientists are trying to pinpoint a place within your body where consciousness arises.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Yes, that's the thing. I'm serious. I'm
Mm.
serious. Which, of course, to you and I, is pretty clear that it's a non-local
It's impossible. Yeah.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah. So within the realm of the mind, as I like to look at it, everything is possible. It's like endless. The possibilities are endless. And when you kind of swim in that realm of mind and can gauge and can find how to navigate in there, then you can really alter the energy around you that then becomes this
Well, I love what
experience.
you're saying is you've basically said, firstly, notice what how you're talking to yourself, how you're behaving, and then look at how you want to change that. So start to change your environment, but then love yourself. Do something to love yourself a little bit more on a regular basis.
100%. It's such a powerful practice.
Mm.
Because you can't trick your brain with an affirmation of just, okay, mirror work is great. You know, if you can't be yourself with yourself in the mirror, have a look. Have a
You're
look at
right.
that.
You can't talk yourself into a new version of yourself. You can't, it's got to be an experiential thing.
Correct. I mean, language is power, and yes, you can speak things into existence, and you could definitely um, fortify the formation of a new neural pathway through language, because it really does alter your reality. However, it always helps to pair it with an experience like taking yourself to the spa so you can really feel that love or whatever, fill in the blank for you. I'm just giving you my thing. Like, I don't know, maybe you really like going snowboarding and that really fills your soul. Or maybe you like gardening. Maybe you have a garden and you just love being in there and that really fills your soul with
Or
joy.
cooking, or just some time to read a good book, or, just whatever it is. I love that whole concept because as you just do pour a little bit of love into yourself, you immediately start to emanate that energy in a different way, like you said, and that's a frequency. So that then shifts, it starts automatically shifting your reality.
Yes. So yes, yes, yes. I love hey, that's why for me, neuroscience and spirituality go hand in hand. And I'm like, dude, it's just energy. And
How could
that
they
is
be separate? Yeah, I don't know.
what's the difference? That's what to me, I'm like, how could you be a non-spiritual neuroscientist? There's like
Yeah.
it's just they're together.
Well, because you're
Uh,
completely ignoring the actual essence of who we are.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but no, not me. I'm very attuned to that. It's all interconnected and interlinked. And neuroscience to me is just a language. We can talk about energy through numerology, astrology, whatever. I talk about it through the language of neuroscience and epigenetics. For me, all roads lead to
That is
to
a
there.
beautiful way to put it, right? That is an absolutely beautiful way to put it. It's a tool that helps us understand who we really are.
Mm, mm. And that's it. And I find for a lot of people, it makes a difference to make sense of something as mysterious as uh, energy work and bring it to a very 3D D level. And that's where I come in as a facilitator because I can literally tell you that, listen, this new neural pathway is the underlying pathway for this new behavior. Even the awakening process, right? Because I talk about the awakening process, another one of my interests. So I
Yes.
interview people on my podcast about, well, what was your awakening process? But on a neural level, it's literally growing a new neural pathway.
Mhm.
That's how you awaken.
Yes.
Yeah, on a 3D neuroscience level, you grow a new neural pathway and now you're awake.
You
Welcome.
rewire yourself. You rewire.
Yes, yes. And then you surround yourself with an environment that supports your awakening. So you start talking to people that have been awakening. And then maybe you start talking to those that are interested or curious about the awakening process, or at least your flavor of it. I know, having spoken to a bunch of people, there's just different flavors as well. So for some people, it's like, whoa, I did an ayahuasca journey and I went into a psychosis for a year and now I'm awake. And for other people, it's a little bit more gradual, or maybe they wake up with, or they come into this world being mediums or psychics. Like there's so many different flavors. But again, I digress. But on a neural level, it is a neural pathway. It
Yeah.
literally is a neural pathway that you can rewire and support. And if you don't like it, well, grow a new neural pathway by practicing another behavior.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's all about rewiring ourselves. And for everybody out there, they should know that riding a bike and learning how to ride a bike is how you create a neural pathway. So just look at your life like, okay, change the bike, change it to another bike, and change it to another way of thinking and another way of behaving. But loving yourself first and foremost is a brilliant way to do it, because I think that everyone is lacking an essence of that in their lives. I think we've gotten away from actually appreciating and loving ourselves. And I don't know, even sitting there and just writing down what you're grateful for about yourself.
Oh, gratitude journaling is again another whole neuroscientific thing. Gratitude is like super, super powerful to rewire your brain and alter your life. Just the amount of dopamine and joy, healthy dopamine, not, whatever. Again, let's not get political with dopamine. But yeah, it just, hey, journaling, gratitude journaling every day. I do it. I have a gratitude journal, best thing that ever happened to me, in addition to my little spa obsession.
Hmm. So, what have you got with all the other
Yeah.
scientists and stuff that were in your environment and around you? Like, what, have you got others that are interested in what it is that you're doing?
Good question. I speak to a couple of people that I did my PhD with, and I can't tell you that we're in the same realm.
Hmm.
No, no. There's maybe a couple of people that have interest in altered states of being, and but then again, how to create that through maybe other means, maybe meditation, maybe psychedelics, maybe natural plant medicine. So I have neuroscientists that are dabbling in that, which is a little bit closer to where I'm at on my journey as a neuroscientist. But no, it's a very interesting thing that you bring up. I actually have zero neuroscientists for on this page.
And that's the reason I ask is that that's why I think that you're courageous, courageous. You've stepped out of the bounds of the reality that you were in with university and science and education. And sometimes when you do, it can be a little bit of a lonely frontier. It can be a place where not everybody that you were connected with is a part of.
Yeah, no, valid, valid. And I have no regrets. I'm really into this. I like, again, North Node and Aries in the ninth house. I love paving the way. I like to validate my experience, as you noticed, with right, with things that I'm really into, astrology being one of them. Um,
But
yeah,
what I
yeah.
hear from you is like you've got this neural pathway very clear that keeps encouraging and supporting yourself all the time. So if you keep doing that to yourself, you don't need it from anybody else.
Yes, yes. And then, I mean, our own internal experience. It's such an incredible thing, right? The brain it gives us this experience, this individualized experience, which we know it's not, right? Listen, I know that conceptually saying that you are a piece of the great consciousness or great creator or universal consciousness or great spirit, whatever you want to call it, just testing out its own boundaries. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true. But as a concept, that makes no difference. But as an experience, I think that's very attractive to me to really explore that and be like, wow, I have a brain. I feel like I'm a separate thing. Interesting.
Yeah. But you've got your own sort of self gratifying cycle circuitry going on, which I really like. It's so clear to me. I love that you're doing it. You do it automatically. It's like every time you're stating something about you and who you are, you're internally patting yourself on the back at the same time, which is fabulous.
Yeah, oh, thank you. Thanks for bringing that into my presence. I think again, um, it is intricate to having those neural pathways be alive and really and really practice it because it wasn't like that forever. I
Yep.
mean, the whole,
Yes.
hey, talk about identity, which is just a neural pathway. Like you're not Helen until you are. You're a baby, and then somebody called you Helen a bunch of times, and you formed this neural pathway that's now it's like, oh, who's Helen? Oh, I'm Helen. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm Helen. And so then you start saying it. My name's Helen. So that fortifies the neural pathway. And that's just your name and your sense of being a separate entity or human being. And then imagine you add on another one. Oh, I am Helen and I am shy. For example, sorry, I know I'm or I'm Helen and I'm married, or I'm Helen and I'm a nice person, or I'm
Identify,
whatever.
identify.
It's just a neural loop. And then we walk around thinking that that's the thing that we are, but that literally is a neural pathway. A
Hmm.
bunch of neurons
Yes.
firing in your brain
Yep.
that give you the perception of that you are really there and you are the way you are. I mean, I can't break it any more down than that neuroscientifically.
I love it. I love it. And the thing is, you've got to just make sure that those identifications are positive, are supportive, and are loving.
Yeah, and that's where you can, well, that's it. So you have the choice. This is where
Mm.
I'm like, listen, you have the choice. How many neuroscientists, I'm telling you, you have this underlying pathway that is, let's say, a behavior that you don't like, where you don't love yourself. Okay, okay. Where you don't love yourself, you think you're worthless for whatever reason, childhood trauma, conditioning, blah, blah. And now you start practicing gratitude. And now you start going to the spa. And now you're like, oh, I think I'm all right. In fact, I kind of like myself.
Yes,
So, and then the kind of opportunities that start to show up are vastly distinct. Like you literally alter your reality because reality is a perception anyway.
correct.
So, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to start a podcast. Okay, I'm going to talk to people. Great. And I'm going to go on podcasts and I'm going to have fun. And that's it.
It all starts to show up like your breadcrumbs where we started off at the beginning, right? It all
Yeah.
starts to show up, whatever you're focusing on.
That's it. Focus your attention. That's right. Another brain trick. People call it manifestation, but it is neuroscience 101. You
Please,
can,
please tell me what your take is on that, because I think that manifestation has been, and let me just say it really clearly, been bastardized out there in the world. People are capitalizing on it, they're monetizing it, and they've got a whole heap of people walking down endless paths to nowhere.
yeah. Yes. And fast. My goodness, this is such a synchronicity. I was just talking to a friend of mine and she literally said the words that you said. She said, wow, that person is moving on a train to nowhere fast. And I'm like, yes, yes, because of what you just say. This like whatever, obsession with manifesting things into the 3D, but it's like, okay, but even that's not gonna help you out here. Even if those manifestations do come true, that, and then you have all these people that have manifested all this stuff and are like, okay, well, that's not it. Now what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, again, I'm talking about kind of extremes of it, but at the
But
level of the brain, yeah.
it's focus. It's about focus, right? And if you're focusing on at one day you're going to manifest things, you will continue to focus on one day you're going to manifest things.
Hmm. Yes, 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 yes. You're already telling yourself that
There's a
you're
delay.
programming
There's a
yourself.
delay in it somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
So how
someday,
does
one
that
day.
manifestation look for you from a neural science point of view?
Again, the brain really filters things out that we're not focused on. Like that whole, what's a popular, the video they show with two dudes and there's a gorilla walking through it and nobody sees the gorilla until it's pointed out to them.
Oh,
Are you
no, I
familiar with it?
haven't, but I hear what you're saying. Okay.
Because we're not looking for it, because we're not manifesting the gorilla. That's why we can't see it until we read somewhere, oh, did you guys see the gorilla? And then you rewatch the video and you literally see this gorilla
And you
walking
go, it's
between.
right there. It's right.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how the brain works. If it's not in within your focus, and your focus is all a function of your brain being a prediction machine. Our brain is constantly predicting based on past experiences
Oh,
what's going to happen next.
I get what you're saying because I remember there's a fella who's all into personal development, Dr. John Demartini. He's been
Oh,
around
yeah.
for a long, long time, and he said he was married to a woman called Athena Starwoman. She was an astrologist here in Australia. She's not alive anymore, but they were married. She was the love of his life. He adored her. And he gave the whole concept, like you just said. He said they'd be driving down a road. She would see every high-end fashion store, any sales that were on, shoes, clothes, and he would see buildings and premises that were for lease or for sale and, potential offices and whatever. That's exactly what you were just talking about.
Yeah, yeah, oh, it's so beautiful. Thanks for filling me in on Dr. DiMartini, because I have a bunch of friends that participate in his seminars, and I've never really uh, gotten interested, but I'm learning. And I think it's amazing that he was, married to this fancy astrologer. I like her.
Totally. They were such different worlds. Mm.
Yeah, but yes, different worlds, and that is, I mean, the brain is a fascinating thing. It's a perfect example of your brain will filter out anything that quote unquote you're not into. So if you want to manifest stuff, well, literally start focusing on different things that you want to manifest. And yes, you will manifest them, just in the example that you described. Listen, how long that'll take you, I don't know, because
Yeah,
we're all
yeah.
individual. We're
But
all
it's
individual.
but it's also saying that if you're not focused, and you daydream, like, or go unconscious, I call it, like, everyone knows what it's like to be driving a car and you get to the destination, you think, oh, holy cow, I don't remember the last 10 minutes. Like, I was talking to someone on the phone or I was doing something else, thinking about something else. If you're not focusing on it, you won't see the bloody gorilla.
Literally, or
And they could
or
be your breadcrumbs to help you connect with the life you want.
yes, yes. Somebody talked about it through this concept of glimmers, is noticing the little
Oh,
bits of joy
that's
in your everyday life. And then you're focusing your attention and your experience of life becomes one of joy, or practicing the experience of abundance, like as a state, like I'm breathing in this air which is rich in oxygen, and I get to speak with you, and like the abundance of the energy exchange, and then I get to be with my kids, and like the abundant nature of creating life, and then connecting with it in that sense. Like that's so beautiful that literally, like, I'm moved by that, as a
yeah.
state of being.
So you
Um,
focus on and you look out for that instead of ticking off your to-do list for the day.
Or checking your bank account and then identifying with that as your state of abundance,
Right. Right.
as an example.
That's lovely. That's lovely.
Yeah.
So tell me,
Yeah.
tell me about these, your course, your workshop that you do.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. So I came up with this workshop because I'm really into neuroplasticity, right? The rewiring of our brain, which is rewiring of habits and ultimately your experience of life. And this idea that we're hardwired and we can't, I call BS.
Yes.
You can rewire your brain. I'm an expert and I'll tell you how, why, what,
And I've
and
lived it, so I agree with you. Mm.
exactly. And it's like not only have I lived experience in the field, I've also studied the thing for 10 plus 15 going on 15 years. So I'll fill you in on how that all works. And epigenetics, then like how you support yourself with your environment to cause the new neural pathways. And what actually happens to your DNA when you place yourself in a new social, physical, uh, fill in the blank, spiritual environment. Uh, but really, at the nitty-gritty level, it is a very science-based course, but we explore non-science themes. I initially created it for healers and teachers, so people that wanna, and ultimately, those are the people that have been participating, is like people that, let's say, are energy workers or yoga practitioners or teachers, and they really want to or even some psychologists and stuff, and parents. Okay. My target audience at the start was like, okay, I want to teach the healers how their woo is not so woo. And
Yes.
so their clients can really understand at a very 3D level how come it is that their Reiki person changed their life.
Yes, yes, yeah, I love
I-
that. I love that because everybody is either from either camp, and either camp can be very, very helped, or it can be valuable for them to do your workshop.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just have so much fun and learn from each other. Again, it's when you're there where the magic happens. So I can't tell you, well, I mean, I can definitely tell you, you will be practiced and aware
I can
of
guarantee too. I haven't done your workshop, right? But I know how life works. And life says if you step up and you educate yourself in something, you get to know another dimension of yourself in another way, you get rewarded. You get rewarded. Life rewards us for taking the steps to change.
Yeah, yeah. So that's really what the course is about. Like it's 6 weeks and it's recorded. So you've got the recordings. I give you my slides, so just for your personal use, whether you want to take that and bring that to your clients, or let's say you have, I don't know, you want to back your numerology business with neuroscience. Okay, perfect. You should definitely do the course because then you'll facilitate people's awakening and their healing process through their numbers and back it by neuroscience and epigenetics. Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah, it gives you
And you
another
don't have to do,
dimension.
and you
Mm,
don't have to do a PhD in it because guess what? I've done that
you've
for
done
you.
it.
So I've done that. All right, you don't need to do that. I've done it. I've compacted it in this program.
I
So
love it. It gives people language. It gives people another language and another dimension, another way to explain what they're doing or how life is operating.
yes, so it is. Yes, yeah, it's everything that you just said. It is very validating, but also people like you can uncover. Again, the world's full of endless possibilities. So people sometimes uncover things that they never even thought about.
So if you want to know about epigenetics, people, if you want to know about neuroscience, if you want to know thyself just a little bit more, and I highly recommend doing that. I've been down those roads myself. And, when you understand how the brain and the central nervous system are an incredible electrical system, like a transmitter and a receiver and all sorts of other things, life changes for the better.
It literally does. And then you're at the source of it. You don't need to listen to the next video that's like, well, let me tell you how to. No, no, let me tell you.
You just said something really good there.
Yeah.
You are the source of it.
Yeah, you become the source of it. You become the source of it and you can share it with others so then they're the source of it and like
Yes.
that,
I
you know?
love that. You are the source of it. So for everybody who's listening, I'm going to put the YouTube, Dr. Val's YouTube and her website underneath. And for those interested in her course, details are on your website as well, are they? Yeah.
Yeah, correct. I've got one coming up on July 25th, so you can jump in that and
Oh, gosh, that's only 4 weeks away.
exactly. So it's
Fabulous.
coming up quick.
Fabulous. All right. Thank you so much, Val. This has been a pleasure. We've gone like from science to woo-woo and back again. And it's been, oh, gosh, great information. I love these conversations. I love neuroscience. I love epigenetics. I think what you're doing is fabulous. Keep on doing it.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for the listeners to listening and expanding over here with us. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. I think you're doing a fabulous job. Keep on keeping on.
All right, will do.